Good afternoon. I'm Robert LeBoyer, the Senior Biotechnology Analyst at Noble Capital, and our next presenting company is Ocugen, a company that is developing gene therapies for diseases of the eye. And with us here to present is Dr. Shekhar Monsunuri, the CEO. We're going to do things slightly differently to make things a little bit more interactive. And first, I'll introduce Dr. Monsunuri, and then he will give some of his slides. One of the things about Ocugen is that when I first met the company several years ago, they had preclinical studies for a gene therapy that was a little out of the ordinary. And most gene therapies that I followed in development up until that point were delivering a normal copy of a gene to replace a defective or mutated gene, and therefore return the cell to its normal state and produce the proteins and carry out the functions of a normal cell. But that was always one gene, one mutation. Ocugen developed a technology where they deliver a gene that controls the regulation of other downstream genes in a gene network. So this was opening up diseases where there are many mutations, and the lead indication in retinitis pigmentosa is a condition where you may have 100 or more mutations in the network that leads to blindness. And the drug OCU400 started in preclinical trials when I first started following it, and has now advanced to phase 3. The other applications of this technology are in geographic atrophy, a condition in advanced dry, age-related macular degeneration that also leads to blindness. The age-related macular degeneration is a condition that affects about 12 to 14 million people in the US. Wet AMD is a disease of proliferating capillaries, and that is solved or treated with drugs like Eylea and Lucentis. Dry AMD has no available cure, no available treatments other than some recently developed drugs that block the complement cascade and some of the destruction of those cells. On the other hand, Ocugen's OCU410 regulates the network of genes that lead to several processes, including complement activation. So here to tell us about those and some of the other products in development is Dr. Shekhar Monsunuri.
Thank you. Thank you, Robert. Before I go into the forward-looking statement, to talk about our mission, we are developing game-changing gene therapies, as Robert has indicated. Nothing like traditional gene therapy or gene editing. There is one product which can target many genetic mutations. So what we want to do is not only take these cutting-edge technologies to market in the next few years, but also work even harder to provide market access to patients globally. These are like one-time potential curative therapies. You take it once, that should work for life, potentially. So we're going to change the paradigm, how the diseases are treated, especially in eye space. There are many blindness diseases. So as a company, we have shifted our focus for the last 2 years, primarily on gene therapies. We do have first-in-class regenerative cell therapy platform. Also, we have an inhalation vaccine platform for COVID and flu. However, we're looking for potential partnerships to move those assets and create shareholder value as well as patients. And so the primary focus is on gene therapies. We have modifier gene therapies. What are these? How did they differentiate from traditional gene therapies? The first gene therapy ever got approved by FDA was in 2017, a product called Luxturna. So that was also targeted one of the retinal diseases, which is inherited. That means genetically transmitted to patients from parents. So if you take a disease such as retinitis pigmentosa, about defects in about 100 genes can cause it. The first product only addresses one gene. If you take that approach, which is a phenomenal approach, you need 100 products. Treat those 300,000 patients in US and EU. That's where we come in. What we found out, we have 4 Nature publications, groundbreaking publications. This technology, we licensed it from Harvard Medical School, from Dr. Nina Heider's lab. She worked on human genome. Then after that, she spent about 20 years developing these genes. What we found out, when you have a genetic defect, genes work as a network. There are many functioning genes who are responsible for our vision system. More than 10% of our functional genes in our system, human system, they work in the eye. So they all work as a network. Each network, under the networks of inflammation, cell development, metabolism to survival, there are key functioning genes. When you have a defective gene, we found out there is a defect in the network. All these functioning genes, many of them are depressed. We found a key functional network. That's a master regulator or modifier gene. That master regulator is depressed. When you give the master regulator, all these key functioning genes, many of them, they upregulate and they reset the homeostasis, also restore the function, as well as they create a healthy environment for cells to survive. Therefore, you don't have to develop 100 products. We showed good data in phase 1-2 in multiple mutations. Based on that, we worked with FDA and moved on to phase 3. Today, we're doing the largest gene therapy orphan clinical trial, 150 patients. Why? Because we have an indication, retinitis pigmentosa, not for a specific gene. We can get the broad indication. It's a nicely designed trial. We designed it with 150 patients. There are 100 patients in treatment group, 50 in untreated eye as a comparison. Control group, that means those patients will be treated for a year and we compare. And based on good data we got from phase 1-2, FDA really are working with us. We got the highest designation from FDA, Regenerative Medicine Advanced Therapy, as well as Orphan Drug Designation. We also have Orphan Drug Designation with EMA. Based on the data and unmet medical need, EMA also came to us and they indicated they can give approval with US data. That's like covering 300,000 patients. So currently we are finishing up recruiting. We are planning to complete 150 patient recruitment by first half of next year. And then with the designations we have with FDA and EMA, we'll be able to kickstart the BLA process late next year, rolling submission potentially, and close our clinical sections when the data comes out in first half of 2026. Then from there, it's accelerated approval, 6 months. So our plan is to complete the clinical trials efficiently with the good data we got from phase 1-2. We're hoping for good data in phase 3 and get the approvals in US and EU by end of 2026 and launch it. The second program, Ocu-410, Armada trial for geographic atrophy. It's a large population, 260 million people global. About 10% of them are in late stage. What is geographic atrophy? They got, central vision has a blurriness, that's atrophy, area. And if I'm 55 or 60, once I start seeing the blurriness, I get scared. It's really debilitating. And I don't know how to function. I don't know how to see people. I can't drive. I can't do many things, right? So this is a disease we struggle with. And currently there are 2 therapies. Until last year, there's nothing FDA approved. Those 2 therapies have a lot of limitations. They can reduce the growth of the lesion, the atrophy area, compared to untreated in 2 years, about 30%. You have to take 6 to 12 injections in the eye per year. And about 12% will get wet AMD for treatment with dry. Even then, FDA approved because there's nothing for these patients. More than 1 million patients in US struggling with this late stage AMD. And EMA actually in the last 2 months rejected those 2 products. They wanted to see something related to visual function, not just showing degeneration based on the lesion size. So today I can proudly state, we just released the data last month in New York in the clinical showcase. First 3 patients who came out from our low dose phase 1, we completed phase 1, we're doing a 45 patient phase 2 right now, but the phase 1 data is coming out. Number 1, the safety looks really good, safety and tolerability. The 3 patients actually showed a good control of the lesion within 6 months, and also preserving the retinal tissue better than the ones on the market. In addition, they showed stabilization of the visual acuity based on low light visual acuity, all 3 patients. So that's, remarkable, and we're hoping to see more exciting data from the program in the coming months. And similarly, the same gene, RORA gene, also can be used to treat Stargardt disease, another debilitating inherited retinal disease with about 44,000 patients in US with no therapies available. And in those patients, first 3 patients finished 6 months of treatment, we showed 84% decrease in the lesion size, which is very significant. So our goal, we took a pause before going to phase 2. There may be a potential working with FDA to convert our phase 2 as a confirmatory trial. And if they agree with that, then it will eliminate doing a phase 3 and cut down the time frame by about 2 years so that we can take this game-changing therapy to patients. So in a nutshell, we're working on 3 programs which address rare diseases as well as diseases that affect millions, blindness diseases. Currently, most of them are unmet medical needs. And many of these people, when I'm talking in this room, are becoming blind with these diseases across the globe. So that's a solution we're trying to find out with a single therapy for life. And so with that, what I would like to show is, we have a patient video with these diseases. I'm going to play that right now.
Actually, it's a couple of slides.
A couple of slides, okay. So, let's go into this. So we are actually located in Malvern, Pennsylvania. We got a headquarters office as well as we have our own GMP manufacturing facilities. And we also have a business center in Hyderabad, India. We started this year, which is efficiently helping to move our programs. As a small company with 100 employees between India and US, we have many programs we're running. We're very efficient compared to the size of companies in the biotech space, including other gene therapy companies.
Sometimes in medicine, you see miracle treatments, and it's really my hope and belief that this new treatment can help a lot of my patients with retinitis pigmentosa.
37 years in the Postal Service. I was about 43 years old when my condition started little by little, taking part of my vision away from me.
Retinitis pigmentosa is a disease that puts a pigment in the retina and it blocks your vision. I was diagnosed when I was in the Navy.
When I look at people, I don't see people's faces if I'm 15, 20 feet away. And I might just break down and cry. It's like, why? Why do I have to be dealing with this?
One thing we can't avoid is aging. And one of those problems in us, and as ophthalmologists we see, is macular degeneration. As people are living longer, they are having more and more patients with geographic atrophy, and geographic atrophy actually damages your central vision as it encroaches upon the center. You can't read, you can't drive, you can't watch television. The current treatment and development, like for example gene therapy, as in the case of OCU410, has the potential to be just one treatment. So that kind of treatment is going to be a game changer. And not only that, the complexity of treatment, which has multiple pathways, targeting all those pathways as one is very desirable as well in this case.
The goal is this is going to be a one-time treatment. So with gene therapy, you add a normal gene to the retina and use the cells in the eye to be the machine for the normal gene and protein. And the benefit with the OCU400 treatment is that it's gene agnostic. So that means that it doesn't matter what specific gene is causing your form of retinitis pigmentosa.
The fact that we're able to slow down or stop conditions that you knew 5 years ago was going to end in blindness. While it's not good enough, because it'd be nice to give them normal vision, I mean, it's borderline miraculous.
I was able to see right here this movement on my hand. I didn't used to see it. Now I can see the movement. Sorry. All my life, I knew about this illness. And now I have a hope.
No.
Okay. All right. Very dramatic testimony and comments from the people who've been treated. Just in terms of the treatment itself, you mentioned that this is a single treatment. What about the treatment itself in terms of hospitalization? How long does it take? The amount of pain and recovery, and any repeat surgeries or side effects that they have?
I mean, currently, it is a surgery. It's not a doctor's office visit like they have IVF, but it's a short surgery. Same day they'll let you go. So there are no complications because you really have to get into the retina inject. One of the good things we have seen in our gene therapy is all three programs. We dose so many patients so far, and our safety and tolerability looks really great. We don't have any adverse events related to the product.
Yeah.
Which is remarkable. I mean, kudos to our group, which is making a high quality product for patients, as well as we have specialized surgery centers, including one here, Bascom Palmer. And so top surgeons who are trained to do these surgeries. And so we established those very specialized centers, and we train very trained people, and they take care of this. So you won't have any long-term complications. They prepare you for the surgery with some treatment, or sometimes to reduce the inflammation. There is a steroid treatment they start, and then after the surgery, they observe you for 1 or 2 days, make sure you're okay, then you go back, then you have treatment follow-ups.
But that's a typical pre-surgical
Yep.
prep, nothing added.
Nothing,
in there.
yeah, all the gene therapy surgeries, you need that.
Okay, and the techniques that are used are all standard techniques that any retina surgeon can pick up quickly.
Yes, yeah, they're standard techniques, but what we are going to do as we move into commercial mode in the next 2 to 3 years, definitely the clinical trials we have, for example, retinitis pigmentosa, I got about 15 centers. The top surgeons are very well trained, and GA we're building more centers. And so our goal is to use these surgeons to initiate and of commercialization, and also these surgeons can train other surgeons, make sure we don't make any mistakes. It's really important, you know.
Yes.
So that's why we really want to train those people. So it won't be like every clinic won't give it.
Right.
When you commercialize, we have to do it in a very methodical way.
Yeah, you want them to do it right.
Right, yeah.
Even if it takes a little longer to launch.
Yeah.
Once it's right, they'll keep doing it.
Yeah.
And you won't have negative reports
Negative, yeah.
because someone didn't do it right.
Yep.
Okay, and one of the things you mentioned was the first 3 patients from the OCU 410 trial in geographic atrophy. That was the low dose of 3.
Yeah.
And the results were very good.
Yes.
When might we see the results from the second or third cohorts?
Yeah, the second and third cohort by middle of next year, we should be able to see most of the data coming out. Every 3 months, you know, you're going to see following 6 months, then 9 months, then 12 months. So the reason why it's important, gene therapies do take some time to see the effect, unlike small molecular biologics. That's why they last for lifetime, potentially. So the data will come out every 3 months. I think by mid next year, we should have pretty good data on all 9 patients.
Great, okay. And OCU 410 in retinitis pigmentosa is now in phase 3.
5 minutes, guys?
Great, thank you. That's in phase 3 now. What can we expect going forward in terms of timing and any milestones or quiet period until the data's through, or any news flow from there?
Yeah, I think the most important thing in OCU400 for retinitis pigmentosa is clinical recruitment. Because FDA and EMA, they're helping us because they, see what's going on in this program, very supportive. So really completing the recruitment is very important for the company in first half of next year.
Sure.
What that will do, and we're going to announce as soon as we're done with the recruitment, because that triggers a 1 year time. We have to monitor the patient. That means we're on track to complete the monitoring 1 year in first half of 2026. That drives approval clock. Once they're done, you get finish the filings in US and EU, and that'll take 6 months accelerated approval.
Yeah.
So that's why we're going to give indications to the market when the recruitment is complete, and then the data is going to come out in first half of 2026, and we're going to notify, publicize the data, as well as at the same time we'll close the BLA submission.
Okay.
So it's not too far. I mean, we're sitting here in December 2024, 2 years from now,
yeah,
potentially we'll have approvals.
you could literally have an approval for retinitis pigmentosa 2 years from today.
Right.
Wow, that's...
And a lot of patients, like in the video, they'll have it both.
Yeah, well, one of the things about the video and the presentation last month that's on the company's website and can be seen was there was a panel of patients who had been treated with all of the drugs, and they were consistently satisfied with the treatment and the effects that the drug was providing to them. And some of the questions from the audience were about pain, recovery. Is this a treatment you would do a second time, knowing what you do now? And it was very unanimous. And one of the patients said, yes, I'm looking forward to having the control eye treated, because he had one, and the untreated, his other eye was the control. So now he wants the other eye treatment, which was a very positive response in that not only would he do it again, but he wants the same treatment in his other eye. So, all very positive comments. And we didn't really talk about OCU410 and Stargardt's disease. That's call it a variation, or orphan designation, but a different molecule that has to go through a different pathway, but is also making good progress. And there was a patient there who had that too and was treated. So one of the surprising things for me was that not only is this the next generation of gene therapy and going from single gene, single mutation in cystic fibrosis and some of the other diseases that have had drugs make it to the market, this is controlling the gene network. So this was wishful thinking not long ago. And now the first drug is in phase 3 and other drugs are in phase 2. So this is really groundbreaking. So that leads to the question, could this technology be used for other diseases that are caused by multiple genes?
Yes, also multiple pathways, like in AMD.
Yes.
And which is, yes, we do have a patent portfolio covering one of the disease areas which is we all need significant unmet medical and neurology space. Many of those diseases, like Alzheimer's.
With more than 6,000 small and micro-cap companies listed, if you're looking for the next Apple, then Channelchek truly is your trade. It's an investor community where you can access independent Wall Street research, advanced market data, balanced news, corporate videos, and podcasts. You can even register to attend in-person Meet the Management Series luncheons, and to be part of the preeminent annual Small and Microcap Investor Conference, NobleCon. And here's the best news. Since Channelchek is sponsored by the featured companies, premium membership requires no investment. It's absolutely free. So check it out. Log in today. Find out why Channelchek is North America's leading source of research on the companies that just may change the world.